ड्रीमबो स्टैटिस्टिक्स में आप सबको हार्दिक स्वागत है। आज हमारे साथ एक खास मेहमान है, अनिरुद्ध दा। दादा एक मल्टीनेशनल कंपनी में डेटा साइंटिस्ट के पोस्ट में काम करें। दादा, आपको ड्रीमबो स्टैटिस्टिक्स में हार्दिक स्वागत है।
Thank you. Hi, Riday. Thanks a lot for such a lovely introduction, and thanks for inviting me to your channel as well. I was going through some of the previous interviews and in this channel, and it seems like I'm the first data scientist on this channel, right?
यस दादा।
Uh, yeah, that's a great pleasure for me. Okay. And another request from me is I would like to ask you to drop the Dada, please. You can call me Aniruddha or AB or even Bhattacharya directly if you prefer a more formal approach.
ओके,
But
आई विल कॉल यू एबी। ओके देन।
AB, yeah,
पहले आप सबको बता देना चाहते हैं कि आज की जो इंटरेक्शन है उसका एजेंडा क्या है। हमें पता है कि जो कॉर्पोरेटिव जॉब है उसमें मतलब बहुत कंफ्यूजन होता है कि कैसे अप्रोच करें। तो हम आज मतलब दो एजेंडा है, पहला कि डेटा साइंटिस्ट एग्जैक्टली क्या है, और दूसरा कि एक कॉर्पोरेटिव जॉब के लिए हम कैसे अपने आप को प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं। ठीक है। आ, तो ए बी, पहले आप अपने बारे में हमें कुछ बताइए।
sure. So, hello everyone. I am Aniruddha Bhattacharya. I'm currently working as a data science manager at Novartis Pharmaceuticals. Basically, here I am responsible for helping our business stakeholders understand the differences between impacts of various promotional channels for several brands of Novartis. Subsequently, I assist them in arriving at the optimal marketing strategy for Novartis across different regions of the globe. To give you a little bit of background about myself, I possess an integrated MSc degree in statistics, completed my studies back in 2016 from University of Kalyani. Since then, for the next 6 years, I have been working as a data scientist at various private organizations. So yeah, that's more or less all about me.
तो ए बी, आपने बहुत सारी कंपनी में काम किया है, तो आपका जो जर्नी है हमें उसका में थोड़ा सा बताइए, आपका फर्स्ट जॉब से लेके अभी तक का।
Sure, sure. By the way, Rida, just one thing I want to take your permission about is I am not very comfortable in speaking in Hindi. I hope it is okay that I am giving my answers in English, and I might be switching back to Hindi in the meanwhile. But I hope it is okay if English is my primary language for this conversation.
आप एक मतलब आपका ये आपका मर्जी, आप कौन सी लैंग्वेज में बात करेंगे। लैंग्वेज कोई बैरियर नहीं है हमारे यहाँ पे। ठीक है। आप ये
जी,
फॉर्मल इंटरव्यू नहीं है, आपसे हम जानना चाहते हैं, ये नॉलेजेबल इंफॉर्मेटिव इंटरव्यू है। ठीक है। तो आप फ्रीली
sure,
बात कर
sure,
सकते हैं। ठीक है।
sure. Thanks. Actually, I mean, about Hindi, the thing is, I understand the language and I'm able to converse as well, but sometimes I keep making some gender mistakes. That's all. But
आ-
anyway, okay.
आपको टेंशन लेने की
Let
जरूरत नहीं है। ठीक है।
Sure. During these past 6 years, my journey has been quite eventful and very interesting to me. I believe I have been able to learn a lot of things during these past 6 years. Also, I enjoyed everything in this industry, enjoyed the work I did. Basically, to give you a little bit of detail about my work experience so far, I started working for Radix Analytics back in 2016. So that was basically my first job. Worked there for almost 2 years. Then in 2018, I moved to Bangalore. I started working for Accenture Operations. Um, then after working for almost 1 year at Accenture, I decided to move back to Kolkata. I started working for HSBC. Uh, and very recently, during this January, I have joined Novartis, and currently I'm working as a data science manager there. So during the past 6 years, most of my experience has been related to banking and financial sector, um, some credit risk as well, uh, and insurance, fraud detection, this kind of thing. But since I have joined Novartis in January, I am mostly focused in pharmaceuticals domain.
ओके, दैट्स ग्रेट। तो जो आपने आप हमारे फर्स्ट है जो डेटा साइंटिस्ट है। तो पहले आप जानना चाहते हैं कि ये डेटा साइंटिस्ट असल में क्या चीज़ है? मतलब अगर ब्रीफ में बोला जाए तो डेटा साइंटिस्ट क्या है, उसकी बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, और एक जो मतलब स्टैटिस्टिक्स पढ़ रहा है या कोई भी सब्जेक्ट पढ़ रहा है, वो एक डेटा साइंटिस्ट कैसे बन सकता है?
So basically, what I have noticed so far, there are three different streams, from three or four different streams, from where people majorly come into data science industry. Statistics is one of them. The other three would be mathematics, computer science, and economics. And what do data science do? That's actually a very vast question. Basically, we deal with data, lots and lots of it. And by lots, I mean millions and sometimes even billions of it, billions of data entries. Um, and what we do is basically we try to look for hidden patterns in those data, and we try to help the business by these insights that we draw from the data. So that's what we do in a nutshell. Uh, how to become a data scientist? Basically, from any stream nowadays, you can come to this particular kind of job. But if you are particularly from statistics, then uh, a lot of things what we are already doing is already being covered in your everyday curriculum at your university. So I would just suggest you focus on those things. For example, like regression, classification, time series analysis, etc. Some basic machine learning techniques you can learn on your own, like decision tree, random forest, etc. You should also focus on at least one of the programming languages, uh, maybe R or Python. Even SAS will work. I never actually learned SAS during my universities because it was enterprise software and you had to pay basically to have access to SAS. There was probably a student version of it which is free, but R and Python are more popular nowadays. Apart from these core topics, one should also work on puzzles a little bit, because for some reason interviewers love asking puzzles. I don't know why. Probably there is a reason, and a very good one. But they ask puzzles. So one who is aspiring to come into this industry should work on those as well. And yeah, that's it, more or less, on the technical side.
तो जो कंपनी में अप्लाई करने का जो फर्स्ट स्टेप होता है कि एक सीवी बनाना। तो एक
Hmm.
सीवी बनाने के टाइम एक स्टूडेंट को क्या-क्या चीज़ दिमाग में रखना चाहिए? क्या लिखना चाहिए और क्या बिल्कुल नहीं लिखना चाहिए?
Well, the first point is try to make it crisp and very short. So the shorter and simpler it is, the better. That's one thing. You shouldn't put any unnecessary things there. Um, what can be an unnecessary thing? Many things. Sometimes I have seen people uh, who put their full postal address in their CV. I don't think that makes a lot of sense, because nowadays job offers do not come by postage. You get them in your emails and stuff. Everything is done virtually over the web. So I don't find it very useful putting your uh, postal address on your CV. So this is one example of unnecessary things. So don't put those and make your resume bulkier and heavier. And one important thing, as a fresher, you should always put your marks, because as a fresher we don't have enough information to fill a single page of our resume. Uh, so marks is a good thing to put there. Apart from these, if you are putting in some projects or some works that you have done in the past which is related and relevant for this particular job role, then you should make sure that you have enough understanding of that particular work or project that you did. If they ask you something about that project and you are not able to answer that question, that's not a good thing. So that is also one thing. And photo, there is a very mixed feeling in the industry about uh, adding your photo to your CV. Some people agree to it, some people don't. So that's your choice, I would say. I personally, my current resume doesn't contain my photo. Previously, when I started in this industry, sometimes I had added my photo in my resume. So that's how you develop your CV. There are a lot of free templates available in Microsoft Word and available in the online internet for free. You can take references from them as well. You can ask around in your university to your seniors for help, for suggestions, how a CV should look like. Yeah, that's it.
अ, तो जैसे आपने कहा कि हमें मार्क्स मेंशन करना चाहिए, तो एक सवाल है जो स्कूल और मास्टर्स के मार्क्सेस है, क्या वो इम्पोर्टेंट है हमारे सिलेक्शन के लिए?
Mhm. Well, the answer is both yes and no. Because, see, the way I see it, as long as you have secured a minimum fair amount of marks, you are safe, and that is true for both school and your graduation and your post graduation, for everything. So basically, if you attend your classes regularly and seriously and spend some time at your home doing the homeworks, then I believe at any institute in this world, achieving at least a 60 to 65% marks is not a very hard job to do. So um, as long as you have that much marks, you are good to go. You are safe. Now, when it comes to the marks of schools uh, or graduation, I would suggest try to maintain an upward trend or try to maintain a consistency. So this is something I personally tried to do when I was a fresher. 10th board or madhyamik, I had secured some 80 to 83%. Then during my higher secondary as well, I had secured 80 to 83%. My graduation, it was also around 80%, and then in my final masters, I think I secured something around overall 5 years 60-65%. Now 80 to 65 is a drop, I understand, but that was my objective, to maintain. I mean, I wasn't able to achieve that per se, but my objective was that I kept that thing in mind, that I have achieved 80% during my schoolings, so I should be able to maintain at least 70 to 75% during my masters as well. So it's a good thing to have in your resume if you have a consistency throughout your studies.
कंपनी में अप्रोच करने के मामले में रेफरेंस, क्या वो इम्पोर्टेंट,
Mhm.
मतलब क्या रोल प्ले करता है एक कंपनी में सिलेक्शन होने के पीछे?
See, I don't think references will help you in getting a job, but it definitely helps you in putting your first foot through the door of the job interview. Definitely. But it never impacts the final outcome of the entire process. Besides that, nowadays there are so many online job portals where you can apply. Plus, there are we often get calls from third party. Basically, they call you and schedule an interview with their clients, which are basically companies. Um, and apart from these two, yeah, you can always apply with your resume directly to the company portal itself. So almost all of the big companies have their dedicated career pages where you can directly apply with your resume. So Yeah, references definitely help you in putting your first foot through the door, but doesn't help you a lot to get you the job. So for anyone who is starting new in this industry, my suggestion would be not to focus too much on making connections. Rather, focus on your basics and your learning. तो connections झाक मार के पीछे आ जाएंगे.
तो एज ए फ्रेशर एक इंटरव्यू के टाइम एक कंपनी कौन कौन से वो क्वालिटीज है जो वो नोटिस करते हैं और सिलेक्शन में काम करते हैं, मतलब सिलेक्शन में हेल्प करते हैं फ्रेशर्स को?
Well, as an interviewee, you should be confident. You should have some confidence in your answers, but you should be humble. So that balance is very important. To be humble enough, but to be confident enough as well. So that balance is very important. Um, Apart from that, they expect you to be a bit of a to they expect you to have a little bit of diplomacy as well, because in the corporate sector you are not expected to behave rudely. Yeah, so these are three main things. And apart from that, if you different job roles have different kind of expectations. So some expect their employee to be very hardworking, some expect them to be very smart working, a logical kind of person. Um, so these things vary from job role to job role. Um, what was the other thing I wanted to say? I forgot. Okay, I will tell you if something else comes to my mind apart from this, I will tell you.
तो आप अपने अर्ली डेज में इंटर्नशिप किए थे, तो एक जॉब मिलने के पीछे इंटर्नशिप और प्रोजेक्ट्स का क्या रोल होता है?
Hmm. The internships are very helpful actually. I mean, because of two things. So first is you definitely get some work experience even before starting a job in the industry. So at least 3 to 6 months experience you get. So apart from that, oftentimes I have seen that internships convert into a real job offer as well. We call them PPOs. So in these two senses, internships are really very helpful in getting your first job. Uh, Talking about projects, um, see the kind of projects we did during our final year of MSc. When the interviewers came, I mean, they don't expect us to know everything about that, because we do not have any industry experience. We are doing it on our own. At most, we are taking some help from our professors, right? So though they don't expect us to know everything, but yes, if you are doing some project which is relevant, um, then that is a big help, obviously. So what are some relevant topics, you may ask? You can do some project on econometrics. You can do some projects on time series analysis, linear regression, or any classification problems you can select. Uh, in terms of programming languages also, your projects can help. You are trying to solve some difficult problem through using, say, R or Python in your project, then that will also be really helpful in your interview process.
इंटर्नशिप में अप्लाई करने से पहले हम कैसे एक चूज कर कि ये इंटर्नशिप हमारे लिए सूटेबल है? ठीक ना, बहुत इंटर्नशिप मिल जाते हैं पर वो एक्चुअली में करियर में कोई हेल्प ज़्यादा हेल्पफुल नहीं होता है, तो हम वो इंटर्नशिप कैसे चूज करें?
One simple answer to that is you directly ask the HR representative, or during the interview process for that internship, you directly ask them what is the job role, what are your expectations from me if I am selected for this particular role. You directly ask them, and then you decide on your own whether this is going to be a good fit for you or not. For me, what happened is I didn't had many opportunities of internships. Um, Speaking of internships, there is a very good portal uh, for internships as well called Internshala. This might help your viewers as well. Yeah. So I didn't had many internship offers. I had only one, and I had no other options. So I decided to accept that. Also, I feel when someone is at their first year of MSc or second year of MSc, they don't have much exposure on what is going to be helpful and what's not. So I suggest you ask the interviewer directly or the HR representative directly what the job role is about, and then decide on your own. And if you have only one offer in hand, then go for it.
आपने प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज का बताया हमें कि हमें प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज सीखना चाहिए, पर सीखना मतलब बहुत सारे जो मतलब कोर्सेस है उसमें कुछ खास प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज सीखने का मौका नहीं मिल पाता है, तो उस केस में एक अपने आप से कैसे सीख पाए?
जो कोर्सेज है उसमें खास सीखने को मिलता नहीं है, एंड दैट्स अ वेरी कॉमन थिंग, दैट्स supposed to happen, because programming is something you that you won't learn alone from books or courses. You have to have hands-on experience on it. So how can you get some hands-on experience with programming? There are lots of online open challenges like HackerRank, HackerEarth, even Kaggle is there. They post challenges on programming, so you can choose your own choice of programming language to use and try to solve those on your own at your home. And that's the best way to learn programming. I feel I learned it only that way only for myself. Apart from that, there are some basic problems I can tell about, which will be a very good start, like Fibonacci or prime numbers. You can start with this kind of basic problems and try to solve them using the language of your choice. And then once you have enough confidence, you can go to these online challenges as well. I'm not saying that you must compete in these challenges, but if you can, that's good. But you can at least take the problems from there and try to solve them on your own. Hands-on is a must if you want to learn coding.
अभी जो मतलब मेरे कुछ सब्सक्राइबर जो एकदम फाइनल ईयर में है, ठीक है, तो जैसे हम कंपनी हमें चूज करते हैं वैसे हम भी कंपनी को चूज करते हैं कि हाँ मुझे इस कंपनी में जॉब करना है, तो हम कंपनी के मतलब चूज करने से पहले कौन कौन सी चीज हमारे दिमाग में होना चाहिए कि हम इस कंपनी को अप्रोच करें अपने लिए सुइटेबल है?
Well, as a fresher or as someone who is starting new in this industry, uh, how do you know whether this particular job role is going to be suitable for you? Because you don't have any previous experiences, right? So the best shot you have is talk to the HR representatives or um, talk to the interviewers and decide yourself. So during your studies, when you are studying or preparing for the interviews, you might have some fair amount of idea what are the areas that interests you. Someone likes to code a lot, someone considers themselves as not a coder but as a pure data scientist. So you ask them directly. If you have these ideas about yourself, then that is perfectly fine. You ask them, and if it matches with your expectations, you accept that.
इंडस्ट्री में कौन से ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, बुकिश नॉलेज या रियल लाइफ एक्सपीरियंस लाइक इंटर्नशिप प्रोजेक्ट्स?
I would say both of them, because projects are something that will teach you the avenues of the industry. You won't be able to learn those from books. That's why, for example, if you look at our curriculum in university or in graduation in high school, we always had a theory class and a practical class. So projects are those. When you are working on a project, you are getting the practical experience of it. And from books, you will get to learn about the theories, the algorithms, the techniques that you can apply in the project. Uh, but the project itself will teach you, once those techniques or algorithms are applied, how do you present them to your stakeholders or your clients or to the business. Uh, so those kind of avenues, business will experience will teach you. So both are important, equally important.
अच्छा, अभी एक सवाल है, वो आपको थोड़ा-सा मतलब फ़नी लग सकता है, कि सवाल है कि बहुत लोगों को बैकलॉग आ जाता है, कि कोई सब्जेक्ट पास नहीं हुआ या 11-12 हो सकता है वो, या ग्रेजुएशन या मास्टर्स में हो सकता है। क्या वो इफ़ेक्ट करता है मतलब एक जॉब मिलने के पीछे, मतलब कोई रीज़न बन सकता है कि रिजेक्शन का?
Um, See, ideally, backlogs shouldn't have any impact, um, and I don't believe it does. Um, so my suggestion, because anything can happen to a person at any time in his or her life, right? Anything can happen. Backdrop can happen to any person in this world. So my suggestion would be basically to accept what has happened. Don't try to hide it in your resume during the interview. And during the interview process, try to come up with a solid justification behind why this thing happened. So prepare yourself. These questions might come: why this thing happened, where did you go wrong, then how did you recover from this situation, and what you are currently doing to ensure that this kind of things doesn't happen in the future. So these four questions are really important, and you should be prepared for this. If you are, then I think you are good to go. If the interviewer asks you anything about your backlog, go straight at them that, yes sir, this did happen, and this is what I did to ensure that this doesn't happen in the future. Be honest about it.
अभी मान लीजिए किसी को जॉब मिल गया है, जॉब मिलने के बाद उसे लग रहा है कि जहाँ पे मैं काम कर रहा हूँ वो सूटेबल नहीं है, या मेरे पर्सपेक्टिव से मतलब काम वो अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, कुछ भी हो, तो उसके लिए क्या ऑप्शन रहना चाहिए, वो आप क्या करना चाहिए? मतलब उसी कंपनी में वो स्टिक रह के वहाँ पे ग्रो करे, या दूसरी जगह पे ट्राई करे? आपका सजेशन क्या होगा, या कैसे डील करे उस चीज़ को?
Depends on the situation actually. So um, from university to starting working for a company, that's a big jump. Okay. And we are not, many of us are not very accustomed to have that jump in their life overnight. Okay. So this can happen. It even happened to me during my first job. I often felt that this is not right for me, but now look at me, this is 6 years and I'm still going on. So you should ask yourself, you are the best person to know at that moment what's happening in your life. Are you really not suitable for that job or for this industry, or are you just trying to escape from some problems that have come in your life? Don't try to be an escapist. Yes, there are moments when we need to make switches. We need to switch jobs, maybe for our own personal growth, maybe due to some family relocation issues. Those things happen and they will keep happening in life. But too many changes, too many job changes doesn't look good. Okay, so if you switch jobs very frequently, that puts a question mark on your loyalty and your stability to the organization you are currently working for. So try to avoid making too many switches.
अभी मान लीजिए किसी मतलब जो वर्क कल्चर है, मतलब एक कॉर्पोरेट इंडस्ट्री का वर्क कल्चर कैसा होता है, उसके बारे में हमें थोड़ा इंसाइट बताइए।
That's a very tricky question you ask. I cannot say what's absolutely on my mind, but to give you some overview, uh, the work culture is very good in this industry, I would say, but it varies from company to company. Um, Somewhere it's 100% absolutely good, somewhere it is around 70-80% absolutely good. Uh, rather than getting the answer from rather than hearing the answer from me, I would suggest that you get into the industry and you learn it yourself. That will be really a big fun for you. You will get this experience. It won't take much time. But um, the work culture is more or less very good. When if you compare this industry with other private sectors, then in any organization in data science industry, the work culture is definitely good, but how good that is, that depends from company to company.
एक सवाल सबके मन में आता है कि सिक्योरिटी क्या है, मतलब जॉब का सिक्योरिटी, तो इसके बारे में आपका क्या
Mhm.
कहना है?
See, I haven't faced any challenges regarding that in my own personal experience during this past 6 years. Okay. Um, there are occasions during this COVID-19 pandemic also. I saw a couple of my friends losing their jobs. That was very unfortunate. But um, the thing is, within 1 or 2 months after losing their job, they were able to get a new one with a hike in their salary, and even a better job, I would say. So, as long as you are putting your 100% effort and you are honest to your organization and to yourself, I don't think no one is going to take away your job from you. So don't worry about that.
प्रोफेशनल कोचिंग, मतलब बहुत कोचिंग
Hmm.
होते हैं, तो वो कोचिंग का मतलब क्या इंपॉर्टेंस होता है एक जॉब मिलने के पीछे, या क्या रोल प्ले करते हैं?
Hmm. This is a matter of personal choice, I would say. See, I personally never attended any professional coaching classes since I completed my higher secondary degree. So, during the 5 years of my university study, I never attended any professional coaching classes. And I don't believe that has cost me anything. Um, some of my classmates, some of my batchmates and friends, they attended professional classes and they are working for good organizations themselves. So yeah, it is just a matter of personal choice, I would say. I can help you with the pros and cons of professional coaching classes. The pros are there. See, they are very structured. You get some very structured learning there. You will get proper guidance, what to study, what not to study, where to focus on, etc. Um, but I personally believe that it kills the fun. It just takes away the fun from the learning itself. And another thing, I personally believe syllabus kills your curiosity. So whenever you are studying and you are given a proper syllabus to study, uh, you kind of forget all the other questions you have. That's what happens with me. This is from my own personal experience. So it might not hold true for anyone else, but that's for me. So these are some pros and cons of professional coaching. So choice is yours. It's just a matter of personal preference.
इंडस्ट्री में आने के लिए कम्युनिकेशन स्किल और इंग्लिश स्किल, मोस्ट मतलब इंग्लिश स्किल का क्या इंपॉर्टेंस है, वो कितना रोल प्ले करता है सिलेक्शन के टाइम?
These are really, really important. I mean, hands down, nothing we can say about that. These are really very important. And the reason I will tell you why. See, you have 5 years of knowledge. Um, you have put your 5 years of knowledge when you're developing a model or something in this industry. Now, the person you are going to present it, this model, he or she, the highest level of mathematics he has ever studied might be long time ago, uh, might be differential calculus in his or her higher secondary exam, and that's it. It might be, it's not always, but it might be. So you can already see there is a huge gap in understanding uh, between you and your stakeholder. So to be able to express yourself, to be able to express your knowledge in a very easily understandable and layman's term, uh, that's absolutely important. So mm, don't hesitate about learning communication skills.
जॉब के इंटरव्यू मतलब राउंड्स होते हैं डिफरेंट, और 2-3 राउंड के बाद सिलेक्ट हो गए, सिलेक्शन नहीं हुआ, तो वो एक
Sorry,
जो
sorry. Just one thing. Sorry to interrupt. Just to give you some idea on how you can learn communication skills, because I'm just repeating this question again because this is very, very important in the industry. Um, to give you some idea, you can learn it from anything. You can learn it from books. You can read English books. Some people prefer to read English newspaper. Some prefers to listen to English news in radio or in television. I did it by watching movies. So you can learn it anyway if you want to. Also, there are professional classes for this as well. I don't think anyone needs to attend those classes to learn some communication skills. But yeah, this is a must. You should absolutely focus on that. Sorry for interrupting.
थैंक यू एबी फॉर सच ए इंफॉर्मेशन। तो जो हम अगला सवाल पूछ रहे थे कि मान लीजिए 2-3 राउंड सिलेक्ट हो गए, फाइनल राउंड में रिजेक्शन मिल गया, तो जो हार्ड ब्रेक है तो उससे कैसे डील करें?
That's a very interesting question. But I believe handling failures is a very important part in a human's life. See, if you are not able to handle your failures, then nobody can help you. Nobody, not even the God Almighty can help you. He can't help you. So whatever happens if in your life, if you fail, you have to be the one to pull yourself together and move on. That's it. But a more important question is, how do you handle success? Now, the reason I say that is, uh, let's say you worked hard for something and you achieved it. Now, after that achievement, if you feel that yes, you are successful enough in life, you have achieved everything, then that's it for you. You will not feel the urge to work harder anymore, and you will have no growth in your life. You will stay there forever, and if anything changes in your life, you will be going downwards, not upwards. So that's also very important. So one, you achieve something, you celebrate that for a couple of days, a couple of months, a couple of years, then you set your next goal, and then you move on, you work harder to achieve that goal itself. That's how life works. So both success and failure, one should be able to handle the same way. Doesn't matter the outcome of your effort, uh, you should be able to move on to the next big thing. Um, Also, I believe we have a very misconception about failures. See, this is all from my personal experience, and people can differ. Uh, what I feel, sometimes we are working really very hard, okay, uh, and we don't see any direct outcome of those efforts. But what happens after a long time, when enough effort is accumulated and all the pieces small into all the small pieces fall into the right places altogether, we suddenly get a big jump. So that's how life works, right? Now once you get that big jump, if you look back, one might say that, see, 1 year ago I put this small effort and I didn't get any return from it. uh, but today I made even a smaller effort and I got this big jump. That's not true. The big jump you got today is the result of the accumulated effort you have put during the past years, during the past days. That's how life works. So no effort goes in vain. We have this misconception about failure. We are always expecting a direct outcome of our effort. Always, it doesn't work like that. This is my belief. And to sum it up altogether, there is a quote, there is a quotation from Winston Churchill, I believe, if I'm not very wrong. So he said something like that: success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts, and that's really important. Everyone should keep that in mind. This is from my personal experience. I hope I haven't offended anyone with this view.
तो ये भी जो एक सवाल है कि मान लीजिए किसी को फ्रेशर्स के तौर पे जॉब नहीं मिला, 1-2 साल हो गया है, तो वो इंडस्ट्री में उसका एक्सेप्टेंस को लेके क्या होता है और वो क्या कर सकता है? मतलब इंडस्ट्री में आने के लिए?
They should try to find out what's going wrong and where it is going wrong. Because if you have put your efforts in the right areas, I don't think it is that hard to get a job in this industry. So try to find out what's going on and what is wrong and what you are doing wrong. And if possible, try to take help from your seniors in your institute, who are already working in this industry. Take suggestions from them, which are some key areas that you can focus on. Maybe you can take their help in building your CV properly, and keep applying in the online portals, and don't lose hope. These are really important. If you keep working really hard, one day you will crack one interview at least, and that's it. After you get your first job, um, the next ones will keep coming. Trust me.
क्या इम्पोर्टेंट है, डिग्री और स्किल?
Both. Degree and skill both are important. Because see, well, there are occasions when you can see someone without a degree doing a very serious kind of job. There are occasions we always see people like 12-year-old kid working at IBM, right? But those are very rare cases. So don't expect that you will be able to crack a job only after you have completed your higher secondary. I would suggest be on the safer side, complete your masters carefully with a secure amount of marks, and then alongside that you can focus on your skill sets. Both are important, both are equally important. Degree is important in getting your first job, and once you get that first job, you should really focus on learning new skills that will help you to grow further.
एक पर्सनल सवाल है मेरी तरफ से कि मान लीजिए कि बहुत लोगों का होता है कि कोई कोचिंग मतलब सेंटर मतलब या कोई कोर्स कर लिए जिसका सर्टिफिकेट हमें मिल गया। मान लीजिए कोई डेटा साइंस का कोर्स कर लिया, किसी भी चीज़ का कर लिए, तो वो सर्टिफिकेट का क्या वैल्यू होता है एक इंटरव्यू के टाइम, या उसमें क्या मतलब इफेक्ट होता है?
My answer would be the same like when you asked about professional coachings. The answer I gave then, I would give you the same answer here. So I didn't have any professional certificates. I didn't
आ,
attend any professional
मुझे लगता
courses.
है कि मैं सवाल थोड़ा सा गलत पूछा है। मेरा मतलब पूछना था, क्या वो सर्टिफिकेट कोई एक्स्ट्रा इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट करता है इंटरव्यूअर जो है उनके ऊपर, कि अच्छा इसके पास एक सर्टिफिकेट है, इसने वो कोर्स कंप्लीट किया है, तो वो कोई एक्स्ट्रा इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट करता है क्या? तो ऐसा कुछ है क्या, वो पता करना था हमें।
Hmm. That depends on where you are getting that certificate from. Okay. Say today I open up a certification course for data science. You come to me, you attend the course, and at the end of 2 or 3 months, I give you a certificate, and you present that to your interviewer and expect that to add some value to the interview. Mm, that's not right. But if you say someone has a degree certificate from NPTEL, do you know what NPTEL is?
Yes, I know. I
Yeah. So some say, for the sake of the viewers, I can just say once again, this is basically a collaboration between different IITs, and CMI is also there and ISI is also there. So there are different courses available in NPTEL, and the examination procedure for that. Once you complete the course, the examination procedure is also very strict, and those certificates, if you have and present them, they will, I hope they will definitely add some value. So it really depends on from where you are getting the certificate from.
फर्स्ट जॉब मिलना सबके लाइफ में एक मतलब मैजिकल मोमेंट होता है। तो हम आपसे जानना चाहते हैं कि आपका लाइफ का जो फर्स्ट जॉब का जो एक्सपीरियंस था या जर्नी था या जो हैप्पीनेस था, आप हमें वो हैप्पीनेस हमारे साथ थोड़ा शेयर कीजिए, और खास कर कौन कौन से बातें जो है जो आपको जॉब मिलने में हेल्प किया है। बहुत लंबा सवाल है, आप अपने हिसाब से बोल सकते हैं इसे।
Well, my first job was with Radix Analytics Private Limited in Ahmedabad. Then it was a really great experience, and to this very day, till this very day, I consider myself extremely lucky that I got a chance to work for such an organization with so many opportunities and so many learning. So yeah. So in our university, it was never like 10-15 companies will come and they will take 70 to 80% of the total strength. It was never like that. Rather, what happened during our batch was 3 or 4 companies came and they selected 10, at max 15 students, if I'm not very wrong. Um, so the first company came. They were basically a software company, and they were looking for someone who would be able to develop different statistical modules for those softwares, and the job role would include, from time to time they would have to go to their clients and meet them and try to pitch and sell those modules. So during the first round of interview, I was rejected right away. That was my first interview. The second interview also, I wasn't able to clear the written examination. Then came Radix Analytics. So before, like couple of days before the date of interview, they sent an email to our HOD, CP sir, saying that they would be arriving at around 10:30, and the interview will start from 11 a.m. So, and now if you know about Kollani Ghoshpara railway station, trains are not very frequent there. So we had one train at 9:22 a.m. And then the next one would be at 10:30, and there was nothing in between them. We have some time, right, Rida? I can go long if I want to.
You can.
Okay. So there was nothing in between those two. Now, my friends and I, we had a discussion. They decided that they would come via the 10:22 train, and I said that I will take the 9:30 train, just in case that 10:22 a.m. train is delayed for some reason. I will take the 9:30. So on the date of interview, I arrived at my department almost 1 hour early, and there was nobody in the department, no one. All the collapsible gates were closed. Only one gate was open. I mean, it was not locked. It was not open, it was just not locked. So I decided to freshen up a little and then went to have a cup of tea. And while I was having my tea, I noticed a car was coming. So I thought, for without any reason, for no reason at all, I thought that this might be the interviewer. So I paid the vendor and started working towards my department. And when I arrived, I noticed that still nobody is there. Just this guy, somewhere around his 60s, a very well dressed person. He is getting off of his car. So he saw me. I asked him whether he is from Radix and whether he is for the interview process or not. And he smiled. He greeted me good morning and extended his hand, saying that you must be Professor Paul. So he mistook me for CP sir. So I said no, I'm just one of the candidates. So I opened one of our classroom, asked him to sit there, offered him some water. We talked for a little, and then we even went to the canteen nearby for a cup of tea. He was asking me some basic questions about our university, our department, especially the syllabus that we are following. So nothing special. And then the interview process started some half an hour later. Slowly, the candidates came. Then CP sir came. The interview process started around 11:30 in the morning. So he asked me some basic questions during the interview. So we were working on a project, like probably that normal approximation of binomial probability distribution, right? So we are working on something, that how large the binomial n has to be so that we can appropriately approximate it to, say, 3 or 4 decimal points. So we are working on that using R. So he asked me some questions on that. Nothing special during the interview. And then I cracked that first round. Then we had, along with three other friends of mine. So then we had a couple of more telephonic interviews. Didn't go very well, but when the final result came out, Radix had selected one candidate from our department, and that was yours truly. So that was the story of my first job. I'm really thankful to entire Radix team for allowing me such a great opportunity. I learned a lot during that 2 year stint with Radix. Really enjoyed that stint. The reason I told you such a long story is basically I wanted to make a point. And the point being is the first job is always very important, and the memories you make there, that will stay with you forever. So it's absolutely important, and you should make sure that when you get your first job, the memories you make there are good ones. So that's it.
अभी हम इंटरव्यू के एकदम लास्ट पड़ाव में आ गए हैं। तो जो लास्ट एडवाइस या सवाल हम आपसे पूछा जाते हैं वो, जो आपका वीडियो देख रहे हैं, मान लीजिए वो 12th पास किया या वो ग्रेजुएशन के फर्स्ट ईयर या मास्टर्स के फाइनल ईयर में, तो उनके लिए आपका एडवाइस क्या होगा कि वो क्या किसमें फोकस करे और क्या करे कि वो एक अच्छे इंडस्ट्री में एक अच्छी जगह पे पहुंच पाए?
Well, my first suggestion would be to decide early, what do you want to do, whether you want to come to this corporate industry or whether you want to go into academia, whether you want to pursue your career in government jobs. Decide this early, and not after completing your MSc. That will be too late. And after that, focus on your studies accordingly. Uh, Along with that, um, work on your personality and character development. A lot of people ignore that part, the personality and character development, but I believe, and I like to believe that these things still have an impact even in today's world, because I believe your characteristics and your personality and your behavior especially are something that if you have a good personality or a good behavior, nobody is going to praise you. Nobody is going to give you a pat on the back. You won't get any extra marks for that during the interview process. But if you go wrong there, if you go wrong in those aspects, that it might have a really big impact on the final outcome of the interview process. That's why I feel these things are very important. That's it. These are my tips.
थैंक यू भैया मैंने आपको भैया थैंक यू एवी
No problem.
फॉर
It
सच अ
was a
लेंदी
pleasure.
इंटरव्यू
How long? How long did it go?
आई थिंक 1 hour
Okay, that's
थैंक यू
quite
सो
long.
मच
Thank